that, I'm going to kick it over to he is a really, really good friend, but he is also an amazing entrepreneur, amazing business builder, and just such an incredible asset to our LifeVantage family. I can't wait for you to hear from him tonight. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to you, my man. Daniel Song, take it away.
How is it going, LifeVantage family? It's so good to be with you today in the month of June. We are already in the 6th month of the year. I cannot believe that we're already here. It seriously felt like it was just last week that we were celebrating New Year's. It felt like it was just last week that we were at Global together. How in the world are we already into the 6th month of the year? And by the end of this month, we will be at the 50-yard marker for 2025. So it's really a great time. I want to start off by saying I think it's a great time for us to do sort of a real good, hard, serious audit on where our personal and business goals stand as of today. Because so many people, we all know this. In the beginning of the year, it's easy to set big goals. I'm going to make 2025 my best year ever. It's going to be my best health year. It's going to be my best financial year. It's going to be my best spiritual, emotional, marital year. Everybody makes big goals in January because it's what everybody does, right? And that's the reason why gyms are packed wall to wall in January. They get a little bit more empty in February. Then they return to about normal in March. Sadly, probably close to 72% of Americans will have given up on their resolution goals by the 3rd month of the year. And if we're talking about June, I can guarantee you 80 to 90% of Americans have already given up on their year. Now they're just going to go through the rest of this year, just like the normal habits that carry them through 24 and 23 and 22. And then when they get to around December, they're going to say, you know what? That's it. 2026 is going to be my year. How many of you guys out there feel like you get into that sort of cycle, right? Where we kind of coast through the rest of the year because we feel like we flubbed up the first part of the year and we say, you know what? I'm going to start on a clean slate next year and you're going to cruise the rest of the year. I'm going to encourage you not to do that. I don't care how good or okay or horrible your first Q1, Q2 has been. There is still more than 50% left on the clock. Guys, this is the time to get serious about your business. And the only way you're going to do that is to be able to take a good, hard, honest look and do an audit on your business. And if you're not willing to do that with an accountability partner. Do that with an EC1 presidential leader who's willing to sit down with you and assess your business over the last 5 or 6 months. Say, what can we do better? Now, here's the cool part. I think everybody thinks that if you haven't done anything for 6 months, that you need to make up 6 months worth of stuff this month. And that's not necessarily true, guys. Momentum can be built in inches, right? I don't know if you guys, I don't even remember the movie, but it was Al Pacino. It's a football movie. I think it's called Any Given Sunday. And there's an incredible locker room talk about this game of inches. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the game of inches because sure, when you look at the big picture, I know there's many of you guys that want to become executive qualified. A lot of you guys want to get to EC1, EC2, EC3, and those are incredible goals to set up for the year. But if we don't go out there and set up mini goals and mini celebrations, some of us are going to get distracted and never be able to get to EC1, EC2. Some of you guys, Thailand, right? The new executive destination, that becomes your big goal. I think a lot of people left global convention saying Thailand is going to be my big goal for the year. And that's great. I'm not taking anything away from it. I think we should always have a stretch goal. We should always have a goal that kind of looks a little scary. We haven't quite figured out how we're going to get there yet, but nonetheless, a goal that's really going to stretch us to grow and a goal that's going to make you excited to work your business. But in the meantime, you need to go out there and set up mile markers or checkpoints to make sure you're on right track. You guys understand, like, for example, I have the wonderful privilege of living on a coastal city. I live in Los Angeles, 20 minutes away from Orange County. But if I go out to Orange County or Long Beach and I get in a boat, and I say, you know what, I want to sail to Hawaii. And I get on a boat and I take off from Long Beach and I point the boat at Hawaii. But guess what? Over the course of that distance and that journey, if a wave bumps me off course, if the wind blows my sail just a little bit off course, and it doesn't have to be a lot. It could be while I was distracted a little bit. It could have been while I was sleeping. It could have been while I was watching Netflix. It could have been on a weekend when I wanted to take some time off. It could have been on your child's graduation date. Let's be honest. A lot of families are celebrating graduations right now. Congratulations to all of our graduates out there. I know we have a lot of proud parents in the LifeVantage family, but during those moments, you could easily be knocked off course just a little bit. Now, I want you guys to think about this. If you get knocked off course by just 1 degree, 1 degree. You cannot tell that you're off by 1 degree when you just get off course. But if you allow yourself to continue down that journey and the path of 1 degree like you're off by 1 degree and you keep following that, you will not land in Hawaii. You will be somewhere lost in the Pacific Ocean, and you're going to wonder at the end of 2025, how did I get here? How did I not achieve any of the goals, let alone get close to any of these goals? And it's because we were 1 degree off. See, a lot of times people feel like when we fail to hit goals, it's because we didn't do the obvious things. It's because we didn't do the big things. And it's not that. Yes, sometimes it is, but sometimes it's the little things. It's the little things that keep us on course that we get lost by. And that's why checkpoints are so important. To not go off on a tangent, I used to run a lot more Spartan races. If you guys, I started doing distance races, 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. And at some point, one of my friends introduced me to the world of Spartan races. And going on trail races are really interesting because you're not following a street course. You're in the mountains, you're running up and down hills and dirt side, and they have checkpoints, they have mile markers. And I see that there's a Spartan warrior in the chats. But if you go out there, there's a saying that the course manager or the person that's hosting will say, if you don't see anyone around you, you are lost. And in the same way, if you're running and you're not coming into mile marker, check markers, you're probably lost. And so I want to make sure we don't get lost. I want to make sure that despite where we've been in this last 5 or 6 months, that we course correct that 1 degree and get us back sailing to our destination. And how do we do that? We do that by setting up, of course, our big goals, Thailand, EC1, EC2, EC3, whatever that is for you at the end of the year. But what do you want to do in the next 3 months? Give yourself a great Q3 goal, give yourself a great Q4 goal. But better yet, give yourself a great 30-day goal. I think it's not a coincidence that we obviously have a monthly, commission cycle that we have here, but we also do these monthly opening of the month and closing of the month calls. There is an incredible cadence that if we're willing to allow this cadence to be a part of our business, we can always naturally stay on track. This is your June mile marker. You're going to have a July mile marker. You're going to have an August mile marker. You're going to have a September mile marker. And as long as you're doing the game of inches and you're staying in the course and you see other people around you doing the behaviors, then you're probably in the right place and you're going in the right place towards those big goals. And so I think it's incredibly great that LifeVantage sets up these incredible incentives. I actually fault the company. I say, Jake, sometimes you guys throw so many incentives, it's hard to focus what we need to focus on because there's so many things that we could do at any given moment. Do we go for the shoes? Do we go for the monthly prizes? Do we go for breakfast at Tiffany's? Do we go for Thailand? Do we go for a new rank? What do we do? But I do love it because the sales team is so incredible, and I'm sure they get the consulting from the FAB. I love the fact that a lot of our incentives are very conveniently stacked, meaning by doing one behavior, you can unlock 2 or 3 different things. And you guys know me, I did a virtual training on this a year ago where I talk about opportunities to stack promotions. And that's exactly what you have here. Some of you guys are already 1 or 2 or 3 months into this new Drive Era Q2 shoe contest. I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not a sneaker guy. Other than just this past year where my wife forced me to wear on-cloud shoes, the rest of my other 44 years of my life, I was only in Chuck Taylors. That's all I wore from elementary school, junior high school, college, my young adult life, only Converse. I know nothing about stylish sneakers. I'm not a fashion guy. I'm not very fashionable. I wear the same thing. It's comfortable. I wear a mock gray. If I feel wild, I'll wear a white t-shirt and just blue jeans, a hoodie, and that's about it, guys. So knowing that when they launched the sneaker promotion, I initially thought to myself, why would I get excited about this? I'm not a sneaker guy. But I understood that it's an incredible conversation piece. Can you imagine how many friends that you might have that are sneaker people that might see that custom sneaker and say, your company does things like this? And that alone becomes the conversation. That becomes the thing to talk about and then introduce the business to somebody else. So for that sake, I would go out there and focus on it. So some of us are 1 or 2 or 3 months into the qualifying of the shoes. By continuing that behavior, congratulations, you're also now Club Fastlane qualified. Right. And so, but for those of you guys that are thinking, okay, you know what, we're 1 month in, we're 30 days out. The idea of finding 2 new members and getting them to SC1, that's overwhelming. Well, guys, you have option number 2. And option number 2 is to go out there and do 400 SV in brand new volume. And again, conveniently, I don't think it's an accident. We happen to launch a brand new stack that happens to be 200 SP. It gets you qualified as a qualifying enrollment pack, so it waives the membership cut kit, right? All of that is there for you to go out there and do 2 potential enrollments on the high-speed pack and get yourself qualified into this fast lane. Now, I do wish, and I'm sure there's a good reason why they can't do this right now. I wish we could tell you what is the carrot at the end of July or in the beginning of July so that it gives you all the reasons to run for it right now. But what I'm being told, and this is all I know, that it's gonna be worth qualifying. Essentially what you're doing beyond the benefits of Fastlane Club and all the training and the exclusive perks, what you're doing in June is to set yourself up to pre-qualify to be a part of something that's being announced in July that's supposed to be big. Okay, so again, a 30-day goal, guys. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. I think it's really great that we have these 30-day cadences to keep us on track. Years ago, I did a training for sort of this generic network marketing platform, but I want to give you guys this analogy and probably what I'll leave you guys with. When you guys go out there and set up goals for yourself, shorter goals statistically are easier to hit and crush than bigger, longer goals, right? So I did this exercise where I was doing a beanbag toss with my children. I have 2 young kids, Carter and Avery. And at the time that I did this demonstration, Carter was, I believe, 6 years old, and Avery was 3, Carter was 7. Okay, so they're young. And in my backyard, I had a small little planter, like a barrel, and I gave them all 10 beanbags each. And I set the barrel away about 20 feet from them. And I said, guys, I want you to do your best to throw the beanbags and let's see how many get in the barrel. And Avery maybe got 1. I don't think she even got 1. Carter maybe got 1 or 2. And I tracked from an aerial photo where all the beanbags landed, and they missed. It was scattered all over the backyard. None of them were close. But then I gave them all the beanbags back, and I brought the barrel back by, instead of 20 feet, I brought it back to 10 feet. Guess what? Statistically, more of the beanbags got in. And not only did more of the beanbags get in, but the cluster of beanbags were closer together. That's the important part, guys, because we may not always hit the exact goal we're looking for, but we get dang close. We may not be EC1, but we're a dang solid MC3. And a dang solid MC3 is better than where I'm at today, right? Like, again, if you're looking at this, right? I did the same exercise and brought it back from 20 feet to 10 feet, and I brought back the planter to 5 feet. Can you imagine what the kids were able to do with the beanbag? They almost had a 95% success rate of getting all the beanbags into the barrel, and even the 1 or 2 or 3 that fell and missed, it landed right next to the beanbag. But why did that happen? Because they set up goals and targets that were attainable, that were easy, and that allowed them to do it. Now, that's not the kicker to all of this. I started at 20, brought them back to 10, then brought them back to 5. Notice I started with the hardest. When the kids missed all of the beanbags and they got only 1 in, it destroyed their confidence. They were talking, Dad, it's too hard. Dad, this is impossible. Dad, I can't do this. There was a lot of negative self-talk. And when I brought it back to 10 feet, instead of being confident, they kept saying, Dad, this is too hard. Dad, now they got a little bit more and they were able to restore a little bit of the confidence. But imagine what happens if you do it backwards. Imagine if I set up the barrel for you guys, for your goals at 5 yards right now, at 5 feet, and you got 95% of everything you wanted from your goals. What would that do to your inner conversation? What would that do to your confidence level? You'd be like, oh my God, this is easy. I got it. You guys would be shooting the beanbags going Kobe, right? You guys would be hitting all the shots and you'd be like, this is too easy. Then when Jake or the company moves that barrel out to 10 feet, you're not going to be like, oh my God, it's hard. I can't do it. It's impossible. You're going to be like, dude, I got it at 5. Let me see what I got at 10. And because of the confidence and the swagger alone, the posture alone, do you understand how you show up to your prospects? How do you show up to a prospect when you do an opportunity meeting or share a product or sell a product when you have the confidence of saying, I hit all my shots? That confidence, that plays into the results of what you're doing. So now you go from 5 to 10 and you're hitting more of those shots. Then you go from 10 to 20. Yeah, inevitably you're going to miss some, but you enter that with so much more confidence. So imagine the frame of mind right now. Some of you guys are starting June going, you know what? Thailand is impossible. EC1 is impossible. And the reason why mentally we're there is because the first 6 months, you only set up a big goal and the beanbags are not going anywhere close to where you think you need to be. And so you're saying, oh my God, this is hard. Oh my God, this is impossible. I'm not getting anything done. But I'm asking you to set up a 30-day goal. Get Fastlane qualified, not just for the benefits for the Fastlane, not just for the benefits of what's coming in July, but specifically to build the confidence, the boldness that it's going to take for you to hit that Q3 goal and ultimately your Q4 goal, guys. That's going to make a world of difference. The last thing I want to leave you with, and I promise you that's pretty much it. And I want to do this because I see Tanya Sheldon in the comments, and Tanya did a training with us in the Executive Elite group. We had a call earlier today. And she talked about how she wasn't a sports fan, but she used the sports analogy. Tanya, I am just like you. I am the worst person when it comes to sports. Like, I think there's a field goal in hockey, a touchdown in baseball. Like, I don't understand how sports work. But the one thing that I love about sports, is the person, the character, the champion mindset. So I get incredibly obsessed. Like, when I watch the Olympics, I don't care about what they're actually doing in the field, on their apparatus, in their sport. I always love the little autobiographies. Like, they've been doing this since they were children. They've been going to work out since 4 a.m. They've been doing this, sacrificing that. That motivates me. Those are the things that motivate me. And there was a story, and again, I'm sure we all have different fans and who we consider the GOAT to be. In my opinion, other than Michael Jordan, and this is coming from somebody who's not a hardcore basketball guy, I think Kobe Bryant's the GOAT. In my modern day, like, from, again, what I know about basketball, Kobe's the GOAT. And even if he is not the GOAT, I think the Mamba mentality is something that we can all embrace as entrepreneurs. There's an undeniable quality, a relentless quality about the Mamba mentality that will stir and drive and just make your heart and blood pressure go up in a good way. If you're an entrepreneur, listen to the Mamba mentality. I remember reading so many different great books and articles, and one of the ones that stood out to me, Dwayne Wade, who's arguably also another great championship winning player. Dwayne Wade went to the 2008, 2012, one of the Olympic Games. They went to the Summer Olympic Games. They got there, they were in their first days, and the teams were going out, they're going to fancy dinners, they were doing all this stuff. So they would do their evening workouts, then they would break for dinner. And then they say, okay, we'll go back into the gym, whatever it was. Guys would go to the club, they would party, they would start coming back to the hotel 2 or 3 in the morning. And Kobe Bryant would be barely coming into the hotel with a towel around his neck with ice on his knee. And that's when people realized that other people did an evening workout, then ate dinner, and then partied. And Kobe Bryant, he was already the best. But he continued to do the behaviors to cement his greatness while other people were eating dinner. It's so easy for us, especially going through the summer months. Our children are out of school. We're graduating, vacation. It's hot. It's this, it's that. You know what I love and hate about direct sales and network marketing? We have an excuse why every season it's funny. I come to LifeVantage, and there are certain months that the LifeVantage ecosystem says are bad months to build. Daniel, January, February, March are great months to build. April, May, June are bad months to build. And then there's whatever. Then I'll go to another company and they'll say January, February are horrible months to build. April, May, June, whatever are great months to build. And then, so if you spread it across our whole industry, there is no good month to build. And I said this, like, if you're looking for the perfect month to build, it's not there. Life is messy. Life is busy. No matter what month, there's going to always be a something. It's graduation. Kids go back to school. It's vacation. It's this, it's that. It's the elections. It's the holidays. It's the summertime. It's never going to be great. Going to the gym and working out is never great. But if you want to be the Mamba mentality, you want to be the GOAT, you got to do what other people are not willing to do. Skip the dinner. Not literally, right? But go out there and do the things. That way, even great people like Dwayne Wade can recognize greatness at a different level. You know the amazing thing about Kobe? Kobe was going into the gym 4 a.m. to train at the Olympic Games. After the first week, after I think 4 days at the Olympic Games, all the rest of the players, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Steph Curry, all of those other guys started going to the gym to work out in the morning with Kobe Bryant, 4:30 in the morning. So greatness can also elevate other greatness, guys. And that's what we should do for each other, guys. I thank you so much, LifeVantage. Thank you so much, LifeVantage family, for having me on this call. I genuinely always appreciate the opportunity to call. Thank you so much, guys. Let's go out there, qualify, smash that fast lane qualifications. For those of you guys that are on track to getting those shoes, Finish that out. It's going to be a great conversation piece, right? If not, you got the 400-point second chance opportunity. Let's make that happen. I promise you it'll be worth the benefits. It'll be worth what you're doing in July. But most importantly, it's going to feed into your confidence and boldness going into Q3 and Q4 for your big goals, guys. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.